stop. Hi everybody, it's me, Yaya. I'm back and I'm reading. Okay, Coco, thank you. We read from chapters 8 through 12 yesterday, so today we're reading from starting from chapter 13 in Numbers, obviously the Amplified version. Okay, so chapter 13, spies view the land. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, send men to spy out the land of Canaan. Hey, leave that alone. If Daddy doesn't want you up here, don't touch anything, Chloe. Sit back. Thank you, Chloe. You're not supposed to even be up here. Okay, Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am going to give to the sons of Israel. From each of their fathers' tribes, you shall send a man, everyone a leader among them. Shh, Chloe. So Moses sent spies from the wilderness of Haran at the command of the Lord, all of them men who were heads of the Israelites. These were their names: from the tribe of Reuben, Shammua, the son of Zakur; from the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat. Chloe, come on, stand up. Okay. From the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of Issachar, Igal, the son of Joseph. From the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, that is Joshua, the son of Nun. From the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, the son of Raphuch. From the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Sodi. From the tribe of Joseph, that is of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, son of Susi. From the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gemali. From the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael. From the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, the son of Bophsi. From the tribe of Gad, Guel, the son of Maki. These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. But Moses called Hoshea, the son of Nun, or Joshua, which means the Lord is salvation. Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, go up this way into the Negev, the south country. Then go up into the hill country. See what the land is like, and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, for few or many, and whether the land in which they live is good or bad, and whether the cities in which they live are open camps or fortifications, and what the land is, whether it is fat, in parentheses productive, or lean, whether there is timber on it or not. Make an effort to get some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. Okay, Chloe, stop it. I'm reading to these people.
Yes.
So they don't need to see your hat and everything you have, okay? Stop it. Don't be distracting, okay? Okay, so they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob, a town in Lebanon. At Labo Hamath in the far north. Sorry. Chloe, get you. Okay. Okay, one second, Paul. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin in Rehob, a town in Lebanon. At Labo Hamath in the far north, when they had gone up into the Negev, the south country, they came to Hebron, and Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, were there. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. Then they came to the valley of Eshcol, or in parentheses, cluster of grapes, and from there cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes, and they carried it on a pole between the two of them, with some pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol, or cluster of grapes, because of the cluster of grapes which the sons of Israel cut down there. The spies' reports. When they returned from spying out the land, At the end of 40 days, they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the sons of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh, and brought back word to them, to all the congregation, and showed them the land's fruit. They reported to Moses and said, "We went into the land where you sent us, and it certainly does flow with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. But the people who live in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified or walled and very large. Moreover, we saw there the descendants of Anak," and in brackets it says people of great stature and courage. The people, and more, and then again in brackets it says the people descended from Amalek live in the land of Negev or south country. The Hittite, the Jebusite, and the Amorite live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live by the Dead Sea and along the side of the Jordan. Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and take possession of it, for we will certainly conquer it." But the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people of Canaan, for they are too strong for us." So they gave the Israelites a bad report about the land which they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we went in spying it out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. There we saw the Nephilim," in parentheses, the sons of Anak are part of the Nephilim. "And we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight." Okay, so I'm down at the footnotes. Okay, 13:27. Blah, blah, blah. No. Okay, 13:28. Okay, but the people who live in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified or walled and very large. Okay. So down here it says, okay, the spies probably had not seen walled cities before, having lived their childhood in Goshen in Egypt. Those who forgot God's power to help them naturally found the situation formidable. Which is amazing that they had forgotten God's power, because these have got to be the same people who saw the walls of water on either side of them just stand up. Who saw Moses get water out of a rock, who they've been getting manna and quail from heaven, who heard the voice of God speaking out of the sky, terrible when it was time to give like the 10 commandments, and heard God speaking from the sky. These people, these are the same people who they had the pillar of fire by night and the cloud by day, and and who experienced when Aaron's two sons, gave strange fire, which probably means just inappropriate source of fire that they used in the temple, and God burnt them up. I mean, these people have seen so many miracles. Like, we today wish we could see all the stuff that they saw back then. They saw so much, yet somehow they still couldn't believe that they could overcome these people who didn't have God backing them. But it goes back to one of my previous videos I did, and I was talking about something, and I was saying how when we were in Exodus, and talking about how God kept these people in the wilderness, I think to protect them, and also and I think God was his process of trying to break the slave mentality off of the Jewish people, and his first generation that was in the wilderness, that slave mentality was never really broken. They died right there in the wilderness. It was not until the children who got to enter into the promised land flowing with milk and honey, so, and the children hadn't seen all the stuff that they had seen. They had experienced all this stuff firsthand, so that's interesting stuff to me. But where was I? Okay. So many of you probably have heard that story. If you have any experience in church at all, you've heard about, Caleb and Joshua And they were like, let's go in and, let's do this thing. And the other people were like, no, we're too small in our eyes and in theirs, and we can't do it. Okay, so on to chapter 14. The people rebel. Then all the congregation of Israel raised their voices and cried out, and the people wept that night. All the Israelites murmured in discontent against Moses and Aaron, and the whole congregation said to them, "Oh, that we had died in the land of Egypt, or that we had died in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land of Canaan, to fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be plundered. Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt?" So they said to one another, "Let us appoint a new leader and return to Egypt." These people are on some mess. It's easy for us to look back and say, man, these people are so crazy. I would never be like that. And, and that's not fair. That's not fair. These people were, this is a scary situation. Even if you have faith in God, it's still scary. So I got to be careful about being too judgmental. But these people have experienced things that none of us today really have experienced. So it's just kind of wild. And time again, when they act like this and they start muttering against Moses and against God, God gets really angry and punishes them. I mean, we were just reading in the last few chapters, I think yesterday, where they were murmuring against God and against Moses, and a bunch of people died. A bunch of people got burnt up. A bunch of people died of a plague in chapters 8 through 12 of Numbers we were reading yesterday. Okay, so where was I? Okay. So then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the Israelites. Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes as a sign of grief, and they spoke to all the congregation of the sons of Israel, saying, "The land through which we passed as spies is exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not fear the people of the land, for they will be our prey. Their protection has been removed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them." But all the congregation said to stone Joshua and Caleb with stones. But the glory and brilliance of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting or tabernacle before all the sons of Israel. These people are so extra. Stiff-necked people. I see why God got so angry with them so many times, and Moses too. Okay, Moses pleads for the people. I'm not Moses. Praise God. I am not Moses, because if those, I don't know, I might have just been like, you know what, God, I'm tired of them too. Go on, do your thing. If it was me. Good thing it's not me. Okay, so Moses pleads for the people. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me disrespectfully and reject me? And how long will they not believe in me, despite all the miraculous signs which I have performed among them?" Really? "I will strike them with the pestilence or plague and dispossess them, and will make you into a nation greater and mightier than they." The guy said, "I don't need you. I can accomplish my will without you. Don't get it twisted, But Moses said to the Lord, "Then the Egyptians will hear of it, for by your strength you brought up these people from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land. They have heard that you, Lord, are among these people of Israel, that you, Lord, are seen face to face while your cloud stands over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you kill these people as one man, then the nations or Gentiles that have heard of your fame will say, because the Lord was not able to bring these people into the land which he promised to give them, therefore he slaughtered them in the wilderness. But now, please, let the power of the Lord be great, just as you have declared, saying, the Lord is slow to anger and abundant in loving kindness, forgiving wickedness and transgression. But he will by no means clear the guilty, avenging the wickedness and guilt of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations, that is, calling the children to account for the sins of their fathers. Please pardon the wickedness and guilt of these people according to the greatness of your loving kindness, just as you have forgiven these people from Egypt even until now. Okay, so, wow. So I guess, I'm sure, he felt for his brother and sister Aaron and Miriam and their families and whatnot. And I guess that's part of his reason for pleading to God for these people. But yeah, there's part of me that would have been like, you know what, God, I'm tired of them too. Okay. The Lord pardons and rebukes. So the Lord said, I have pardoned them according to your word. But indeed, as I live, all the earth will be filled with the glory of the Lord. Surely all the men who have seen my glory and my miraculous signs, which I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, yet have put me to the test these 10 times, and have not listened to my voice, will by no means see the land which I swore to give their fathers, nor will any who treated me disrespectfully and rejected me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land into which he entered, and his descendants shall take possession of it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites live in the valley. Tomorrow turn and set out for the wilderness by way of the Red Sea. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, How long shall I put up with this evil congregation who murmur in discontent against me? I have heard the complaints of the Israelites, which they are making against me, and say to them, As I live, says the Lord, just what you have spoken in my hearing, I will most certainly do to you. Your dead bodies will fall in this wilderness. Even all who were numbered of you, your entire number, from 20 years old and upward, who have murmured against me, except for Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Not one of you shall enter the land in which I have swore an oath to settle you. But your children, whom you said would become plunder, I will bring in. And they will know the land which you have despised and rejected. But as for you, your dead bodies will fall in this wilderness. Your sons shall be wanderers and shepherds in the wilderness for 40 years. They will suffer for your unfaithfulness or spiritual infidelity, until your corpses are consumed in the wilderness, according to the number of days in which you spied out the land of Canaan, 40 days. For each day you shall bear and suffer a year for your sins and guilt, for 40 years. And you shall know my displeasure, the revoking of my promise, and my estrangement because of your sin. I, the Lord, have spoken. I will most certainly do this to all this evil congregation who are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed by war, disease, plagues, and here they shall die. As for the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, and who returned and made all the congregation murmur and complain against him by bringing back a bad report concerning the land, even those 10 men who brought back the very bad report of the land died by a plague before the Lord. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh remained alive out of those men who went to spy out the land. Israel repulsed. Moses spoke the Lord's words to all the Israelites, and the people mourned greatly. They got up early in the morning and went up to the ridge of the hill country, saying, Look, here we are. We have indeed sinned, but we will go up to the place which the Lord has promised. But Moses said, Why then are you transgressing the commandment of the Lord, when it will not succeed? Do not go up, or you will be struck down before your enemies, for the Lord is not among you. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites will be there in front of you, and you will fall by the sword, because you have turned away from following the Lord. And therefore the Lord will not be with you. But in their arrogance they dared to go up to the ridge of the hill country. However, neither the ark of the covenant of the Lord nor Moses left the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and struck the Israelites and scattered them as far as Hormah. Okay, Numbers 15. Laws for Canaan. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, When you come into the land where you are to live, which I am giving you, then make an offering by fire to the Lord, a burnt offering, or a sacrifice to fulfill a special vow, or as a free will offering, or in your appointed feast, to make a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord, from the herd or from the flock. The one who presents his offering shall present to the Lord a grain offering of a tenth of an ephah of fine flour mixed with a fourth of hin oil, of oil. And you shall prepare wine for the drink offering, a fourth of a hin, with the burnt offering, or for the sacrifice for each lamb. Or for a ram you shall prepare as a grain offering 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with a third of a hin of oil. And for the drink offering you shall offer a third of a hin of wine as a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. When you prepare a bull as a burnt offering or as a sacrifice in fulfilling a special vow or peace offering to the Lord, then you shall offer with the bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with a half a hin of oil. And you shall bring as the drink offering 1/2 a hin of wine as an offering by fire, as a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. Thus shall it be done for each bull, or for each ram, or for each of the male lambs, or of the goats, according to the number that you prepare. So shall you do to everyone according to their number. All who are native born shall do these things in this way, in presenting an offering by fire as a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. Law of the stranger. If a stranger lives as a resident alien with you, or whoever may be among you, throughout your generations, and he wishes to make an offering by fire as a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord, just as you do, so shall he do. As for the assembly, there shall be one and the same statute for you of the congregation, and for the stranger who is a resident alien with you, a permanent statute throughout your generations. As you are, so shall the stranger be before the Lord. There is to be one law and one ordinance for you, and for the stranger who lives with you as a resident alien. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, When you enter the land to which I am bringing you, then when you eat the food of the land, you shall lift up an offering, a heave offering to the Lord. You shall lift up a cake made of the first of your ground grain, which has been made into dough, as an offering to the Lord. As an offering from the threshing floor, so shall you lift it up. From the first of your dough, ground grain, you shall give to the Lord an offering throughout your generations. But when you unintentionally fail and do not observe all these commandments, which the Lord has spoken to Moses, even all that the Lord has commanded you through Moses from the day that the Lord gave commandments and onward throughout your generations, then it shall be, if it was done unintentionally without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bull as a burnt offering, as a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord, with its grain offering and its drink offering according to the ordinance, and one male goat as a sin offering. Then the priest shall make atonement for all the congregation of the sons of Israel, and they will be forgiven, for it was an error they have brought their sin offering, an offering by fire to the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord, for their error. So all the congregation of the Israelites will be forgiven, as well as the stranger who lives among them as a resident alien, because all the people were involved in the error. Also, if one person sins unintentionally, then he shall offer a female goat 1 year old as a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement before the Lord for the person who commits an error.
What are you doing?
When he sins unintentionally, making atonement for him so that he may be forgiven. You shall have one law for him who sins unintentionally, whether he is native born among the Israelites or a stranger who is living among them as a resident alien. But the person who does anything wrong, willfully and defiantly, whether he is native born or a stranger, that one is blaspheming the Lord. And that person shall be cut off from among his people, excluding him from the atonement made for them. Because he has despised and rejected the word of the Lord and has broken his commandment, that person shall be utterly cut off. The responsibility for his wickedness and guilt will be upon him. Sabbath breaking punished. Now while the Israelites were in the wilderness, they found a man who was gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation, and they put him in custody, because it had not been explained by God what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The man shall certainly be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp." So all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him to death with stones, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the sons of Israel and tell them to make for themselves tassels on the hems of their garments throughout their generations, and put a cord of blue on the tassel of each hem. It shall be a tassel for you to look at, and remember all the commandments of the Lord to do them, so that you do not follow after the desires of your own heart and eyes, desires after which you used to follow and play the prostitute, so that you may remember to do all my commandments and be holy, set apart to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God." Okay. Okay. Let's see. Can we go? Oh. Well, I guess that's it. Okay. How long have I gone? 26 minutes. Okay. So that's enough for today. I'm down here at Costco in the parking lot. And so I don't have any more internet, so I can't keep going anyway. But anyhow, I thank you so much for watching. May God bless you. Have a wonderful evening, day, and just thank you for watching. Okay.